Hello everyone. Now you will hear a short summary of the film Rebel Ridge. Enjoy watching. Terry Richmond was riding his bike until he was hit by a police car. Not only that, the cop pointed a gun at him and ordered him to stay still, and then zapped him with electricity. Terry is suspected of stealing the bike. The man was handcuffed and his backpack was searched. Officer Marston pulled out a suspicious package and then put Terry in the car. The package contained stacks of dollars, more than 36,000. The cops suspect that this is the proceeds from drugs. In fact, Terry was going to post bail for his brother. This is 10,000, with the rest he will buy a pickup truck. The police agreed to release Terry. But there is one caveat. They will keep the money, since the cops decided that it was obtained through drug sales. Terry explained that he sold his share of the restaurant to get the money. He did not break the law, but the cops do not want to listen to him. Now he will receive a subpoena. If Terry responds to it, he will be arrested. If he ignores it, the money will simply remain with the cops. The cops removed the handcuffs and wished Terry a good day. Finally, the man came to court. Only instead of money, he had a certificate of seizure. So now the cousin will be transferred to state prison. Lawyer Summer McBride volunteered to help Terry. She explained that the seizure was legal. For this, it is enough to be suspicion of trafficking in illegal substances. And what is interesting is that the police chief can keep the entire amount for himself as some kind of contribution. Summer said that she cannot help get the money back. The man can go to court, but he will spend twice as much on a lawyer. Terry said that his brother Mike had previously testified against a crime boss. So he can't go to state prison, they'll kill him right away. In this situation, all Terry can do is find another $10,000 as quickly as possible. He asked his former boss for help, and he promised to send the entire amount via bank transfer. Terry doesn't have a single friend in this town, so he had to spend the night in the woods. In the morning, he went to the police station and filed a report. Terry began describing the cops, but Officer Sims suddenly left her desk and brought in one of them, Officer Lan. He threw his license at Terry and told him to get out of there or face arrest for making a false accusation. Police Chief Sandy Bernia intervened. He said the arrest was lawful and Terry had been treated with respect. But now the man faced criminal charges if he continued to harass his officers. So Bernia ordered Terry to turn off his recorder and leave the station. Terry asked to return him at least $10,000 for the deposit. He is ready to forget about the remaining 26. The boss liked this proposal. He even allowed Terry to meet his cousin tomorrow. Terry had to spend another night in the woods. And in the morning he learned that Bernia had deceived him. The bus with prisoners had already left when he returned to the police station. Terry drove through the woods to cut through the road and catch the bus. He succeeded. On the way, he asked Mike to request an arrest, because everyone already knew who he was and he was in danger. It turned out that the former boss would not be able to help Terry. The cops raided the restaurant under the pretext that drugs were being sold there, and confiscated the proceeds from the boss's safe. Terry turned to Summer again, but she was also under pressure, and the girl does not want to lose her job. Summer is forced to act secretly. The lawyer found out that the case is not clean. Mike's bail was set too high, and there was also a 90-day deferment. And there are many such cases. She will continue to dig, however, she is already being watched. The girl is taking a big risk. The cops found out that Terry served in the Marine Corps, but it seems he has no combat experience. The chief became a little calmer, because the persistent warrior came to the police station again. Bernia is pleased that he deceived Terry. How dare he bargain and set conditions in his police station? Terry clearly explained to the police chief that he had driven him into a corner, and now he will have to act differently. At this time, Officer Sims found information that Terry was an instructor. He was a cool master of close combat. Bernia took a gun from his holster, but Terry easily took it away and unloaded it. He pretended to take the chief hostage, after which he disarmed Lan. The jiu-jitsu master scattered the cops and entered the police station with them. Terry tore out the telephone wire and ordered the hostages to sit on the floor. Sims was hiding in the next office. She gave up her gun and handcuffed her colleagues. Afterwards, Terry sent the woman to the evidence room to get his money, telling her to take only $10,000, since a deal is a deal. There were a bunch of armed rednecks outside the building, so Terry ordered a police officer to pretend to arrest him. Sims motioned for the Marine to get into the car and motioned to the oncoming police officer that everything was okay. Terry gave Sims her gun and rode his bike to court. Finally, he was able to post Mike's bail. Terry shared with Summer his plan to turn himself in and go to jail with his brother. A squad of police stormed the building. Terry was ordered to kneel and was immediately shot with a taser. After Terry was examined by a medic, he was taken to the station. The police chief got into the car. He admitted that he would not have messed with Terry if he had known who he was. The military man remembered seeing a lot of money and a serious arsenal of weapons in their warehouse. Bernia said that they were not really funded, so the cops had to figure out how to make money themselves. The car stopped near the hospital. Bernia threw the remaining $26,000 on the ground and uncuffed Terry. And then he said that Mike was attacked in the detention center and badly cut. Bernia offered Terry to take the money and leave, or go to prison for 30 years. Terry won't get a second chance. Bernia said that all that was required of Terry was to do nothing. Mike died in the hospital without regaining consciousness. Terry took his things from the woods and got into Summer's car, who agreed to give him a ride. They were accompanied by a police car. The girl found dozens of cases in which the bail did not match the crime. All the detainees were deliberately kept behind bars for 90 days. Why would the cops do that? But Terry is no longer interested, he just wants to get out of town. Just in case, Terry left Summer his phone number. At night, the cops broke into the lawyer's house, injected her with drugs and threw the syringe in the sink. The drugged girl almost called the police, but then came to her senses and dialed Terry. He arrived at her house in a pickup truck he bought and found Summer in the bathroom. The girl is currently in court for custody of the child, and she may forget about her daughter if this comes to light. The cops knew how to put pressure on the lawyer. She used to take drugs, and she also had a criminal case for stealing her father-in-law's lawnmower. Summer arrived at work. The judge had already been informed that she had broken down during the night, and the girl was immediately forced to give a urine sample. Summer realized that she had lost both her job and her child. Terry hoped to remain unnoticed, but Officer Land caught up with him and ordered him to pull over. Another police car stopped a little further. Terry promised that he would definitely not come back, that there had just been an emergency today. Land replied that the chief had given Terry a lucky ticket, but Terry had thrown it away. Land planted a gun in the car and tried to shoot Terry, but only wounded him. The man knocked out the cop with a taser. Other police officers fired at Terry's pickup, but the driver was not hit. A sad Summer was watching her daughter when a police car came for her. Terry hid the pickup under a bridge and called Summer. It turns out that the girl has a friend on the police force, and he advised her to get out of town as soon as possible, so she is already packing her things. She was also told to stay away from Terry, but she ignored this advice and met the fugitive at his old job at a restaurant. Terry's former boss, Mr. Liu, was just removing a bullet from him. Terry is lucky that Mr. Liu was a traitor during the Korean War, although Liu is Chinese and fought on the enemy side. Terry realized that they had decided to get rid of them quietly, otherwise the SWAT would have been called in. It was all about Summer's investigation. They had decided to get rid of witnesses. Summer turned to a fellow lawyer. He did not tell her anything directly, but hinted that it was worth visiting the judge. Terry did so. The judge said that it all began with the police killing an innocent man. The lawsuit on the case almost bankrupted the city, and the treasury is now constantly replenished due to the machinations of Chief Bernia. The whole city wins. Defendants who were unable to post a huge bail are always kept behind bars for exactly 90 days, and the cases are so minor that they are not even entitled to a public defender. And according to the rules, data from recorders can be deleted exactly after this period, so they will not be able to prove anything later. The cops did something with Mike, too, in order to throw him behind bars. And the recording of the arrest is on a hard drive in the court, or rather under the court building in a storage facility. That night, the cops decided to get rid of all the evidence and set the storage facility on fire. There are a bunch of hard drives in the warehouse. It will not be possible to get them all out. But Summer remembered about the SD cards from the recorders. Over the past week, 24 cards have accumulated. One of them contains a recording with Mike. After Summer ran to the courthouse to pick up her urine sample, the cops grabbed her. Terry waited for his partner at the main entrance and saw the cops throw her into a car. They stopped briefly next to a police car. Terry drove into it. then pulled the officer out of the car and handcuffed him. Terry took the cop's phone and contacted Lan. They agreed to exchange Summer for flash drives at dawn. An armed squad was waiting for the Marine at the appointed place. However, for some reason Terry did not show up. Marston spotted his car on the bridge and knocked out the window, but a tied-up cop was sitting in the driver's seat. Terry at that moment destroyed the wall of the storage room in the police station. He outsmarted the chief and shot him several times with a traumatic gun. The man simply took the gun from Sims. Terry thought that she was helping Summer. Terry gave the flash drives to Officer Sims and put on a bulletproof vest. If Summer got hurt, he would burn all the money along with the station. Suddenly, Sims pointed a gun at Terry and said that she would not allow anyone to die today. Terry went outside and threw the bag with the gun on the ground. Sims gave all the cards to Lan, and he stomped on them. The villain pumped Summer full of drugs and was about to execute Terry. But suddenly his partner Marston spoke out against it. He was going to arrest Terry and take Summer to the hospital as soon as possible. Our hero realized that he was mistaken. Summer's friend was not Sims, but Marston. But Marston was shot in the leg by the police chief, and so unsuccessfully that he began to lose a lot of blood. The cops began to argue whether to call an ambulance. At that moment, Terry pulled Marston behind the car. Sims still did not shoot him. The Marine started throwing flashbang grenades at the cops. Marston told him to get the police car's dashcam. It showed him getting shot by the police chief. Terry filled the entire parking lot with smoke and went to deal with the cops hand to hand. He breaks and knocks out everyone in a row. He knocked out Lan with particular brutality, hitting him in the face with his elbow. Terry jumped into the car Summer was in. The Marine injected her with the medicine she needed to treat an overdose and threw it into Marston's car. Terry was going to drive away from the police station, but Lan got caught in the car. Summer had just come to her senses and got rid of Lan. Now she needs to deliver the recording where it should go. The recorder is stored in the trunk of this car. It won't be possible to escape pursuit. The car has a flat tire. Sims and the police chief agreed to make a maneuver to stop the fugitives, but instead Sims rammed the police chief's car. The other cops decided not to attack the car with the wounded officer and let him drive to the hospital in peace. Sims pointed a gun at the chief. Terry carried Summer to the hospital in his arms, then grabbed a fire axe and used it to get the dashcam out of the trunk. All that was left was to wait for the normal cops and give them the recording.